Hi, my name's John. Welcome to another Sunday night nightcap. Tonight's nightcap is 99, which means next week is obviously going to be 100. I've got one or two interesting bits and pieces for next week's nightcap. Anyway, on to tonight. Tonight's nightcap, I do a bit of machining. I make an adapter for a friend of my dad's for a pressure gauge. I grind the jaws on my 3-jaw chuck. My 3-jaw chuck has now been good. It's not very accurate and it's actually bell-mouthed a bit. So I have a good grind the jaws on that. I show quite a bit of footage of that. Update on Debs. Basically Debs is just the same. She's back in hospital on Monday for an injection. I think she's got 3 or 4 more to go, which will take into next year, and then hopefully things will really start to improve for her from there. When I bought this lathe, I've had it over a year now. The lathe itself is in really good condition. There's no wear anywhere. The things that are worn are the chuck. There's no actual wear on the chuck, but the chuck jaws are worn. It's actually a wider contact area there than it is in the back. The chuck's not very accurate. It's probably within 6 or 7 thou, which is not bad for the 3-jaw, but you can get a lot better. The main problem I've got is that with it, you put something in, you put a heavy cut on it and it'll push the job into the chuck. It's not getting a proper hold of it. So what I'm going to try and do is grind the chuck jaws. I can get a new set of chuck jaws, but they're £189. I might as well buy a chuck. What some people do is they'll put a ring on the chuck like that, wind the jaws out to lock them up, and they'll grind the jaw like that. That's not the way to do it. You don't use a 3-jaw chuck that way. Well, you sometimes do, but the 3-jaw chuck's normally used for gripping on something like that. If you look inside of here, I'll take the chuck off. On the inside of the jaws, there's actually a little register. Bollocks. There's a little register in there. It's designed to have a ring put in. You tighten the jaws onto that and then you grind them. I think I've got a bearing ring that may do the job. I'll take the chuck off and we'll have a closer look at it. Right, I'll bring the camera down looking straight inside so you can see the ring I'm on about. Right, this is looking down into the back of the chuck. They're the chuck jaws there. One, two, and there's one hiding around there. And there's actually a point there, a point there, and a point on that one. Now I've got a bearing ring here, which hopefully big fat fingers will go in there. Right, that's gripped in there. So in theory the 3 jaws should be in the right place to grind it. You can see the ring's actually offset. It's just the way it's been machined, the way they're made. I did strip and clean the chuck before we started doing any of this. We'll mount it back on and see if we can set a grinder up. And like I say, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. This is looking into the front of the chuck. You can see the bearing track in there. So all 3 jaws are tightened onto the bearing track. Notice I'm using the bed protector. Right, So now I can run the grinder up there, the truck will be turning, the grinder will be turning in the opposite direction, and hopefully it'll make a nice job of dressing up those chuck jaws. Right, this is the setup I've devised. I've got a high speed air die grinder set up, just basically clamped onto the tool post. I can traverse that in and out of the chuck jaws. The gear's going to be running forwards that way. That goes opposite direction. But we'll give it a whirl and see what happens. Not sure what sort of speed I should be running this at. Right, and we'll run the lathe faster, and you can put a power feed on it. Well, that seemed to go quite well. I'll take the ring out, we'll put something in, and I'm going to clamp on it and see how accurate it actually is now. I made a little clamp to hold the camera mount, like a ball, swivelly ball camera mount. Just a couple of brackets welded onto a nice strong J clamp. I'm intending getting some film of a steam wagon this week. So I want to try and use this to clamp onto the wagon so I can get some shots of it actually moving. The last mountain I had wasn't very strong. It is quite a heavy camera I use for my outdoor work. This is the camera I use for most of my video work in the shop. It's a Panasonic high definition digital camera. It's not an expensive camera and it's done a lot of work in here. That's a wide angle lens of a different camera. I did a video on making an adapter ring to make it fit. Some of the camera mounts I use in this shop, they're quite difficult to, it's quite difficult to get the camera where I want it. Hopefully this week I'm going to go and get some video of that Sentinel steam wagon on the road, and I need something to mount the camera behind the cab, something that's going to be nice and strong and secure. So I've got quite a few of these. Like a ball mount, camera screws onto there, and you can, like a ball mount head, you can put that anywhere you want. These aren't expensive to buy and are very, very handy and versatile. So what I've done, I've modified a J clamp. So simply I can put a bolt through there, bolt it onto me camera base, and I can put that J clamp basically anywhere I want. I'll clamp it onto there. And I can adjust the camera to point anywhere I want on the bench, or hopefully this should go on the back of the cab of the wagon, and I'll get some nice shots of both the driver, the fireman and where the vehicle's going. Then I want to try and get on the road with my other camera, which is the one you're looking through now, and get some shots of the wagon coming past. What I want to do is weld another piece of steel straight out there, so I've got like another option to mount the camera on. I'm not sure what sort of steel the clamp is. I'm just going to weld it with a stainless steel rod. That normally welds most things. Right, so now I've got a really versatile clamp on mountain that won't flex, won't break. Camera can go on there, it can go anywhere, basically anywhere I need it to go. Right, the viewer mail that came in, small package here and a nice letter from a lad called David Welsh. David only lives a few miles from me, so I think it's only fair we should meet up one time, David, and you can have a look around my workshop and I'll certainly like to have a look around yours. What he sent is, it's an idea I've seen before. I think it was outside Screwball Chuck. I first saw use it. It's basically a ball bearing cut in half. I'll bring the camera in closer and show you what it's used for. It's actually used for gripping irregular items and a vise on a milling machine. Right, this is the little half bearing that David sent in for us. Basically how we use it as a, put a bit of bar there. It's actually got a machine face on that side and that side's rough. So if you clamp that in your vise, you're not going to get a proper hole. It's only touching on one place there, so it's going to try and tilt it. So what you do is you use this half ball bearing. I use a magnet because my fingers are too thick to go in there. The ball bearing goes in there that way around in the centre, and you're gripping the flat of the ball bearing, and there's just the one small contact face, so it's got to push that nice and square against the back jaw. Quite a clever idea, and it does work. Like I say, I've been going to make one of them for a while. Another way to do it is to put a bit of soft aluminium TIG welding wire in there, but that'll certainly work. It'll be used all the time. What I'll do, I'll probably get a magnet and I'll stick it up here somewhere on the milling machine so I can't lose it. Been quite nicely done, nicely ground. I'm not sure how you'd hold that to grind it. It's cut just less than halfway. This is the item that turned up. It's a set of drawings and some instructions on making a clock, strut epicyclic train clock. It comes from a gentleman called Paul. All he's done is put his name as Paul. Paul goes on to say how much he likes me show, obviously, and he thinks it would be a good idea to start making this on the 100th nightcap. I have thought about making a clock, as a friend of mine does make and repair world clocks, so I may have a word with him. It looks like there's a lot of work in that. I think it'll be a good project for when I retire, if I ever retire. Anyway, Paul, thanks very much. I've had a read through the book. It's interesting. It's a very good book. It goes into great detail for setups and how to machine things. I'll certainly need some of them. Big magnifying glasses. List of materials. Some real fine work in here. Certainly food for thought. Anyway, Paul, thanks very much. We'll put them away somewhere safe, and possibly one day. register. Bollocks. There's a little register in there. Yeah, I've just that chocolate.